Back in July, I made this video, and would you Adam and Eve it, but another video from the same guy has popped up in my recommended feed today, so I thought, yeah, why not take a peek and see if he's changed his position for something a little more realistic. But before we do, I want to let you into a little secret. Today's video is in partnership with Noom. So, I've been getting lots of comments lately asking where the rest of me's gone. Yeah, I've lost 22 pounds in the last 3 months. And how have I done it? Mind your own business! That's how! Okay, fine, I'll tell you then. I've been using Noom, and Noom is not a diet. I can't stick to diets. It's awesome because instead of just trying to make you eat like a bunny rabbit or a vegan, Noom helps you learn how to make healthy food choices with the tools included, which will all help you succeed. You get daily lessons all designed to help you understand what you're eating as opposed to just telling you what to eat. And what I found useful is the ability to track everything you eat. If you don't know what you're eating, how are you meant to get healthier? Another thing I love, because I really used to struggle with it, is the lessons. For example, I just did one on social eating, you know, when you're out with your friends and they're having a huge dessert. Well, for me, I'm easily influenced. Just watching somebody eat cake is enough to make me want to eat cake. But since I've been using Noom, I can make way better choices in moments like that. And that's ultimately helped me shed pounds and feel healthier. Another really helpful feature of Noom for me is the exercise tracker. Yeah, I've joined a gym as well. I really am taking this seriously, because a few months ago, my uncle, who was only 9 years older than this guy, died. And as sad as it was because he didn't look after his health and diet. For me, I really need to be held accountable. And Noom does that for you as well. You get a personal coach if you want it. So when you slip, which you will because none of us are perfect, you can just reach out to them, explain your issues, and they'll do everything they can to help you get back on track. Now, I bet you're wondering how I know what to eat. Easy peasy, people. Noom's got like a traffic light system that couldn't be easier to follow. Green, yellow, and orange. And it's simple to follow and stick to. This isn't about going on a diet, because that doesn't work. It's about changing your understanding of food and exercise for life. So if you want to join me on my weight loss journey, then why not give Noom a try today? No point waiting. There's no time like the present. Just click the link down in the video description or go to noom.com/creaky and take your free 30-second quiz. Thanks, Noom, for sponsoring today's video.
Undoubtedly, millions or billions of people have heard their entire lives that dinosaurs evolved and then went extinct millions of years ago, tens of millions of years before humans evolved.
Well, yes, we have. And shall I tell you why? Because I like to give the subjects of my videos information that they will completely ignore because it goes against what they believe. But the reason millions or even billions of people accept the whole dinosaur situation is because dinosaurs went extinct about 65 million years ago after living on Earth for about 165 million years. If all of Earth time from the very beginning of the dinosaurs to today was to be compressed into 1 year or 365 days, the dinosaurs appeared on January the 1st and became extinct in the 3rd week of September. And using the same timescale, the Earth would have formed approximately 18.5 years earlier. Using the same timescale, people, Homo sapiens, have only been on Earth since December the 31st, New Year's Eve. The dinosaurs' long period of dominance certainly makes them an unqualified success in the history of life on Earth.
Such purportedly factual teachings are then often accompanied by captivating illustrations of all sorts of dinosaurs, but never with any human beings.
And why is that, I wonder? Is it maybe because there is literally zero evidence to suggest that man ever lived with dinosaurs? When you listening? I just explained that. And the reason the images we see of dinosaurs are so captivating is because people like to wonder and learn about these kinds of things. The images we have of dinosaurs are what research has suggested they would have looked like. Again, I'm quite happy to say we just don't know for certain, in the same way as you don't know for certain that dinosaurs lived with man, and yet you claim it as a fact. People who accept evolution, however, are more than happy to say this is what we think dinosaurs would have looked like. Because unlike you, we are not dumb enough to claim a definitive on something that no living person has ever actually seen, due to being separated by around 57 million years.
As we've been told thousands or millions of times, human beings never lived with dinosaurs. And if you believe otherwise, you're crazy.
Now you're getting it. And it's not necessarily about being crazy. It's about blindly believing something with no proof of that thing. Look, think about it like this. If someone was able to prove by way of repeatable, testable evidence that dinosaurs did in fact live with man, do you not think that would have been because some of the world's top paleontologists had unearthed some sort of supporting evidence and then changed their position? Because if it had been, or ever is proven, that dinosaurs lived with man, that would be huge. It would be on every news channel, in every scientific publication, literally everywhere. So how is it you seem so confident that you are right and everyone else is wrong? Because as far as I can tell, your only reasoning is that the Bible kind of maybe mentions something that if you use your imagination enough, you could claim is a dinosaur, sort of. But apart from that, you have absolutely no evidence to back up your insane claim.
I suppose more than any other question that apologetics press tackles, we get more criticism from atheists, evolutionists, and even many Christians regarding our material on dinosaurs, especially when that material is illustrated.
And you never wondered why? Listen back to the first few minutes of this video, it's all in there.
The impression I've gotten from some through the years is, how dare you talk about God creating these animals with human beings thousands and not millions of years ago? Don't you know that these animals prove evolution to be true?
Well, I wouldn't be asking how dare you. I would be asking why you say it. Because when people say anything without any sort of supporting evidence, eventually it comes back to bite them. Because it doesn't take a lot of effort for somebody like me to be able to demonstrate just how wrong you are. However, I do also realize that asking you why you believe it would be quite redundant, because you already believe something else that has no supporting evidence. You know, the 6,000-year thing. And it would seem that you're just as eager to believe that dinosaurs walked with man for exactly the same reasons, because you think the Bible says that they did. And as I've said before, it doesn't matter what you believe, it matters what you can prove. Can you prove that dinosaurs lived alongside man without using the Bible, which, as we all know, is not a scientific textbook? Oh yeah, and dinosaurs don't prove on their own that evolution is true, but they are a very important piece of the puzzle.
Then there have been those puzzling times when Christians have been in full agreement that God indeed created dinosaurs and dinosaur-like aerial and aquatic creatures on days 5 and 6 of creation.
Somebody's pants on fire? Using the word Christians because you think it makes for a larger number of people that agree is a little bit disingenuous. Because as far as I can tell, it isn't Christians that agree with you, it's just other young earth creationists.
And yet the moment we show an illustration of what that may have looked like, some think we've gone mad.
Well, I find that hard to believe. Other people think that people who claim that man and dinosaurs, although separated by 57 million years, live together are mad. Why would anyone think that young earth creationists have gone mad? Or are mad? Because you can't actually go something that you already are. And as soon as you signed up, you instantly label yourself as nuttier than a squirrel turd.
The conversation goes something like this. You can't show a picture of a dinosaur along with a human being. Wait, I thought you said you believe that God made dinosaurs during the same creation week in which he made elephants, alligators, and human beings. I do believe that, but such illustrations look crazy.
This isn't confusing at all, is it? So this other person, who I am guessing is a fellow young earth creationist, doesn't think the concept is completely insane, just the pictures. Wowza. And I thought I'd heard it all. Clearly I was wrong. But I will say they have a fair point. And the only reason it is a point and not just something we can skim over is because young earth creationists preach it as fact, which it isn't. Unless, of course, we make some sort of discovery that proves otherwise.
Why do they look crazy? I've just never seen anything like that. Plus, you don't just show humans and dinosaurs in the same picture, you show them close together. You sometimes show people killing them or even taming them. That surely never happened.
Well, if this other person is a young earth creationist, they are either not a very good one, or they are much more switched on than the other young earth creationist. Because they are right, it surely never happened. And by surely, they must mean definitely.
Why do you think that?
I have no idea. Maybe it's this little thing that real scientists rely on called evidence. In most cases, the reason we know so much about things that happened a very long time ago is because there have been things left behind. In the case of dinosaurs, we've found countless remains, and using those remains, we've been able to reconstruct those bones into what we think dinosaurs most likely looked like based on what we have found. And talking about what we found, the Royal Society Open Science has a paper published in it explaining about the 110-year-old million dinosaur that was found by miners. I think it was a Nodosaur, which I'm probably saying wrong. This creature's remains were so perfectly preserved that scientists were able to see what it had eaten for its last meal. It's a very long paper, so I'm not going to go over it in the video, but I will tell you what it isn't. It isn't a human being. And I don't want to shock you, but I have actually remembered to link that paper below if you fancy a look.
They were terrifying creatures that humans couldn't have gotten close to. What makes you think that? Everything I've ever read and watched.
Seems fair to me. There were many different kinds of dinosaurs. Some were carnivores, they were the bitey ones, and some were herbivores, the not bitey ones. Some were big, some were small, but none of them were pets. For the many reasons I've already covered in this video. You know, that pesky 57 million year gap doesn't help. Hang on a second, I've just thought of something. The young Earth creationists think that Jurassic Park is a documentary. Because apart from Jurassic Park, I have never seen any footage of humans interacting with dinosaurs, or photographs, or anything. Because they didn't.
I would like to ask you to consider two things. First, remember that it's easier to believe a lie that you've heard 1,000 times than the truth that you've only heard once.
Hang on there just a second, Chief. I didn't ask you to explain why young Earth creationists take the Bible literally, unless you're talking about something else, of course. Sorry, I won't interrupt again.
And second, ask yourself, what should we believe and teach, and what kind of artwork should we use to illustrate biblical and historical truth?
Well, if it's biblical truth, you don't need any illustrations, because there's no truth to illustrate. In my opinion. And as far as what you believe and teach, well, when it comes to what you believe, if you kept it to yourselves, nobody would care. I certainly wouldn't. What you teach, however, well, I would respectfully suggest that you leave teaching to actual teachers.
Given the following evidence.
Evidence? What evidence? You don't have any. And if you do, it will have come from the Bible, so it isn't evidence at all. This should be good.
First, an omnipotent, omniscient God exists.
Okay, look, I'm just going to answer these as they come. So your first piece of evidence that dinosaurs lived with man is stating that something else that has no evidence to support its existence exists.
If a person doesn't believe this most important foundational truth, talking about the subject of dinosaurs and humans will likely be unproductive.
Well, of course it's unproductive. You may as well have said my first piece of evidence to support man living alongside dinosaurs is that unicorns are real. It's like arguing that the sky is green. There is no way you can prove it, because it isn't.
If a person comes to believe in God based upon the evidence for his existence, as we discuss in many other videos, he should consider that Almighty God would have the power to create dinosaurs alongside human beings during the creation week, if he so chose.
So what you're saying then is in order for you to convince someone that man and dinosaurs did live together, they must also blindly believe in God. And what evidence are you talking about? And please don't say the Bible again. I will say though that if God was real, I'm sure he would have had the power to create dinosaurs in Creation Week. You know, in the same way that Iron Man has the power to fly into space and visit other dimensions. But until you can prove that he did using actual evidence and not stories from the Bible, we will just have to go with, no he didn't. So yeah, that's your first piece of evidence shown to be completely useless. Next.
Second, the Bible is the Word of God.
What? That's just as bad as your first one. Sorry, I'll shut up now and give him the chance to explain what he means.
If a person doesn't believe this second foundational truth, a discussion of dinosaurs might be somewhat beneficial if the unbeliever could be shown that the biblical account of creation doesn't contradict true history and science.
Well, it does. Massively. So how the hell is this one going to help you? It's just as useless as your first piece of evidence. In fact, it's almost exactly the same thing. And did you just say, how can you expect anyone to believe this lie if they don't believe the first lie? Because that's what it sounded like to me. And when your first two foundational truths are just blatant lies that can't be backed up at all, then it negates everything else you say.
Third, the Bible indicates that God made everything in 6 days, including all animals and humans.
Not really sure why I'm so surprised by that, but your third piece of evidence is also from the Bible. But let's have a quick recap. First piece of evidence is the Bible. Second piece of evidence is the Bible. And shock horror, your third piece of evidence is also the Bible. Wouldn't it have been easier to just say you don't actually have any evidence and that it's just what you believe? Maybe then people would leave you be and you could enjoy lying to yourself.
According to Exodus 20:11, in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them.
But what about the discovery of new species in recent times? Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I did start looking for some examples, but then I thought, is there really any point? Because all any young Earth creationists will do is say that they were probably already here and we just hadn't seen them yet, which I know could be the case, but they would just say that, yeah, they were already here and God still created them. But there are loads. Google it yourself if you want.
Fourth, the biblical truth that dinosaurs and humans once lived together is supported by history.
Really? And is that biblical history or actual history? Let me guess.
Even evolutionists have admitted that people all over the world throughout history talked about seeing reptilian creatures with scaly, hard, elongated bodies, long serpentine necks, long tails, horn, knobby, or crested heads, some with bat-like wings, and some that went on 2 legs, while others on 4.
Now look, I know this is probably just wishful thinking on my part, but what are the chances of any sort of citation to back up that pretty bold claim?
Although undoubtedly many of these dragon stories were exaggerated through the centuries, just as our adrenaline-rushing fishing or hunting stories are often exaggerated, these descriptions of dragons sound like dinosaurs or dinosaur-like reptilian creatures.
So that's a no then? Why didn't you just say no? And the only person I can think of that seems to actually believe the dragons were real is Roger from Mud Fossil University. And everyone knows how reliable his opinion is. So we have the Bible, and the Bible, and dragon stories as your 4 proofs so far that dinosaurs lived alongside man. This is going great for me.
But modern man only began learning about dinosaurs from the fossil record in the past 200 years. How could so many people from all over the world throughout history have so accurately described seeing animals that sound like dinosaurs?
Accurately? That's a bit of a stretch even for a young Earth creationist, isn't it? So I saw an animal very recently with a spiny back, covered in scales, had a really long tail and a sort of knobbly head. What am I describing? Because it sure sounds like a dinosaur, doesn't it? But it wasn't! It was a bearded dragon! R.I.P. Dave. Can you see my point? In the same way that you think God is real, a story from years ago about people seeing something scaly can easily be explained away using common sense. You should try it.
Fifth, the biblical truth that dinosaurs and humans once lived together is supported by physical evidence.
Well, let's see it then. And I swear, if it's the Bible again, I'm gonna lose it.
Not only did people talk about seeing dinosaurs and dinosaur-like creatures, referred to as dragons, for thousands of years. Keep in mind that the word dinosaur was not coined until the early 1840s. They also
Whoa, just a second. The word dinosaur wasn't coined until the 1840s, which is right. Don't worry, I wasn't going to say that it wasn't. But if God created dinosaurs, as you say, along with all other animals, what were they called until Sir Richard Owen came up with the name dinosaur in 1841? To describe the fossils of extinct reptiles. He coined the word by combining the Greek words dinos, which means terrible, and sauros, which means lizard. I had no idea that if it had turned out that God was real, he only did half a job.
Illustrated these animals in drawings and carvings found all over the world. How could they have illustrated such animals hundreds or thousands of years before modern man ever learned about these creatures from the fossil record?
Well, The simple answer is they didn't. Creationists cite what they believe to be various sculptures, carvings, and other artistic representations of dinosaurs made by ancient cultures around the world. Most of these have been discredited as forgeries or misrepresented objects, but creationists continue to use them as evidence for their peculiar view of Earth history. Among the most often cited is the petroglyph of what appears to be an Apatosaurus, like sauropod, on Kachina Bridge in Utah's Natural Bridges National Monument. According to the fundamentalist apologist group, Answers in Genesis, would be them, wouldn't it? The petroglyph of a sauropod dinosaur clearly has important implications, indicating that dinosaurs were indeed known to men after the flood eventually died out. Now, I think the image he showed is of a cave painting of Kachina Bridge. I could be wrong, and I may have even said that wrong. Who cares? Because it wouldn't make me as wrong as this guy. But the sauropod dinosaur turned out to be made up of distinct carvings and mud stains. It's definitely not a depiction of a single animal, and when viewed in detail, it looks nothing like a dinosaur. Look! The separate carvings and mud stains only look like a dinosaur to those wishing to find one there, i.e. young Earth creationists.
Once again, the evidence supports the biblical truth that God made everything, including dinosaurs and humans, in 6 days.
No, it doesn't. All your so-called evidence shows us is that young Earth creationists will do and say anything if they think they can make it support their ridiculous claim.
Sixth, dinosaur bones have been discovered with soft tissue in them. In the last several years, numerous scientists have reported unearthing a variety of dinosaur bones from around the world that contain intact protein fragments, including collagen, hemoglobin, elastin, and laminin.
I don't think they have. I just wasted an hour of my life looking and can only find the one, Mary Schweitzer. And she really isn't happy about young Earth creationists using her discovery to try and claim their idea of the age of the Earth, and a buttload of other stuff, all from creationist websites. So I didn't bother with that because, well, I don't need to explain to you why I didn't bother today. Creationism.
Lastly, human beings have interacted with all sorts of animals throughout history. So why is it so hard to believe that they also interacted with dinosaurs?
57 million years apart. That's why. Breathe. Huge thanks to Noom for sponsoring today's video. And now you all know how I've managed to lose 2 stone in weight. Just Google it, America, and it converts into pounds, kilos, whatever you use. Don't forget the new website is up and running now, so if you haven't taken a look, then just head over to creakyblinder.com and tell me what you think. Like mustache, I'm actually touching cloth. Love you, bye.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe. By order of the Creaky Blinder.